T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Love.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Hey, fellas, good to be back with you. Of course, I need to start with a joke. This one this week. How about this? Hot off the press, sent to us by a friend of the show. Electricians are the friendliest people on the planet. Do you know why?
They get everybody charged up.
I like it. T-Dog?
I can't top that one.
They know how to make good connections. That's right, good connections.
Oh, all right. Yeah, okay.
Throwing that baby away. We'll kind of put that on the fire. All right, let's get fired up for this week, the week that was. The opening games of the 105th NFL season are this week, and we're ready. Are you? Well, we can help. We're your one-stop shop. Tonight we break down the NFC West, where I think a win or loss could really make this a toss-up division, maybe. Let's talk to our experts. Well, I guess that's you guys. To recap, here's how they finished last year. 49ers were 12-5, Rams were 10-7, Seahawks 9-8, and the lowly Cardinals 4-13. So, Lugs, you're one of our experts on the panel. What do you like for fourth place in the NFC West? And hey, how are you tonight?
Doing well. In fourth place, I have the Arizona Cardinals. It all comes down to Kyle Murray, and can he stay on the field? They've added Marvin Harrison Jr. with a fourth-round pick from the draft. They also added Trey Benson and Darius Robinson, so they'll have offensive power. The defense is the problem. They couldn't stop anybody last year. I mean, let's face it, when T-Dog breaks free for a 72-yard scamper, it's a bad defense right there because he was sporting a busted ankle. So defensively, they have nowhere to go but up. They do have a brutal schedule to open the season. They start with the Bills at the Bills, then they have the Rams, Lions, and Commanders at home. I'm afraid it's going to be another disappointing year for the Cards. I have them going a little better than last year. I have them 7-10.
Okay. T-Dog, my man, what do you say about running that 70-yarder, first of all? That's pretty impressive.
That was, I was hungry, and, they had a bratwurst, I guess, at the stadium.
Dangling on the goalpost or something? On the crossbar?
I can't help it. I have my weaknesses. It's donuts, malt milkshakes, and bratwursts. So,
all right. Well, take it away with your NFC West picks.
I also have the Cardinals in fourth place. I like what they're doing. They were one team that was smart where they, Kyler Murray last year was coming off of a knee injury, and they kind of committed to the bid of being bad last year. But you saw flashes of a good coaching staff. They were fourth overall in rushing last year with James Conner leading the way. And they averaged 5 yards per carry, even better than that of the 49ers, who averaged 4.9 yards per carry. Kyler Murray came back, and, he looked pretty solid. But I think, again, I'll admit this is another cheap shot against Cliff Kingsbury. He's finally a good offense in the NFL. We'll see Kyler Murray in possibly all his glory. They added Marvin Harrison Jr., which is a huge asset to him going forward. It's definitely the best wide receiver he's had since DeAndre Hopkins when they traded for him a few years ago. And Michael Wilson, who also was recovering from an injury last year, who they drafted, I think he'll be better. And Trey McBride kind of emerged last year, their tight end, as possibly one of the premier tight ends in the league. But kind of like what Lug said, they added free agents Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols, who are solid guys, but kind of long in the tooth, and like it should help solidify their defensive line. One of the big problems was their inability to stop the run last year. I think it'll be better, but still not great. I may have them finishing 6-11.
6-11. Okay, I'm with you boys on the Arizona Cardinals as well. You've mentioned a lot, but yes, Kyler Murray is finally healthy after missing 9 games with a torn ACL last year. Marvin Harrison Jr. may be Mr. All-World, but he can't carry the world like Charles Atlas did. Go ahead and look that one up. They've got a tough schedule, but they also have, as Lugs mentioned, that what I call the Swiss cheese defense. Lots of holes. So I, too, have them in last place. I think that's an easy pick. Wouldn't everybody pick the Cardinals to finish last, no matter what? I think they would. I have them, like Lugs, I have them 7-10. So we're getting a little generous. We all gave them a couple more wins than last year, so that's an improvement. Let's see. All right, third place in the NFC West. Lugs, who do you like?
I have the Seahawks. They're starting with a new head coach, Mike McDonald, who is taking over for Pete Carroll. I've got to say, Pete consistently had teams performing above expectations. McDonald has to do it in his first year with a tough division and tough schedule. If they don't start real hot off the bat, it could be a long year. Geno Smith is still the quarterback. The receiving core is really good. So are the running backs, and the offensive line's improved. But with all the craziness, still, I only can give them 9-8. 9-8 for the season.
Thank you, Lugs. T-Dog, how about you? You're third place.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to you, J-Boy, I believe wasn't the Seahawks were one time in the AFC, so maybe that's why.
They were back in the day.
So maybe that's why. But kind of like what Lug said, I also have the Seahawks in third. Mainly, Pete Carroll did have them overperforming, and obviously they won titles with his Legion of Boom cover 3 defense. That fell off, and credit to him. Instead of being like, this is my defense, I stick to it, he tried to change with the times and stuff, but it never got it to connect. They brought in Mike McDonald, who I think will reinvigorate this defense that finished 30th overall, particularly because they were so poor against the run. They were 31st in the league. The addition of their first rounder, Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle from Texas, he will collapse the pocket and create pressure. And I think I'm going to have him as the defensive player of the year. I mean, I know I love 3 techniques, but I kind of wanted Chicago to possibly get – I mean, look, I'm happy with Rome, but, like, I really do love Byron Murphy, and I think he's going to be a special talent. And it would be kind of funny the Rams torture the Seahawks with Aaron Donald for so long. And I'm not going to say Byron Murphy's going to be Aaron Donald, but I think he's going to be a very good 3 technique in the league. And then I think McDonald will get Devin Weatherspoon, their first-round pick from 2 years ago, with Woolen playing with energy and chaos, and they'll be wrecking passing concepts. And the acquisition of offensive coordinator Ryan Grubbs, who was at Washington University last year, their offense really stress aggressive downfield passing, which really matches Geno's best attribute of being able to throw these highly accurate deep balls. And I just think JSN has a chance to be a star in this offense, and Metcalf could explode. Not that he wasn't already a great player, but I think there's potential for him to put up maybe like 1,600 to 1,700 yards receiving. That being said, I think it's going to take a while for them to get this defense in check. Their offensive line is still kind of suspect. That's why I have them going 7-10. And also, this is just a good division, I think, in terms of some interesting teams. So 7-10.
You know, you said so many nice things about the Seahawks. You don't want them to finish higher than that?
I do. So,
but I do, because I'm picking the Rams for third place. See, I set you up. I'm picking the Rams, not the Seahawks. I'm flip-flopping with you fellas. They did finish 5-1 in the division last year, but I think Matthew Stafford is borrowing time from Father Time. I know they still got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, but they got no more Aaron Donald. And I know everybody's saying, well, they can replace, he'll be okay. No, I think it's going to be a bigger deal than that. And I think McVay, not my favorite coach. I know everybody loves him to death, but I like the Seahawks so much. I've moved them up on the ladder, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But with that in mind, I have the Rams finishing in third place. Close. Game here, game there, like I mentioned at the top. I've got them going 9-8 in third place. We'll see what happens. All right. Second place, Lugs, what do you like here?
Well, I'm going with the old Rams there. Aaron Donald did retire, but they've drafted Jared Verse and then added Braden Fisk to try to fill that vacuum. Of course, that's a wait-and-see proposition. The offense should be better with additions on the offensive line. Puka Nacua, second, another year in the system. They have an early bye. They need to start really out of the gate. They got to win. But I say they make the playoffs, if not win the division. I'm predicting 11-6 for the Rams. 11-6.
Wow, impressive. T-Dog, what do you think?
I also have the Rams in second, but I will say this, J-Boy, I do agree with you for your third place team, the Rams. I worry about, I think Stafford is still incredibly talented, and obviously he has the mind that quarterbacks who get to his age, who got to start for as many reps, just they have a Rolodex and they understand, coverages and stuff, like essentially everything slows down for them. And Kupp is a workout freak, but those are the two of the most vital pieces on the offense. They're both on the wrong side of 30. And then, the best defensive player in the league for I don't know how many years, Aaron Donald, you lose him. You're not going to replace him. And then on top of it, he lost his defensive coordinator. Raheem Morris is now the head coach in Atlanta, and he did a fabulous job, particularly last year, whereas Aaron Donald and just a bunch of random dudes who – I give a lot of credit to Aaron Donald, but I give a lot of credit to Raheem Morris making all these just kind of Jimmys and Joes like kind of work as a collective. That being said, Sean McVay is one of the best coaches in the league, and that's why I think last year I went against him and they made the playoffs, and I almost kind of said to myself, never again am I going to say that Sean McVay is not making the playoffs. And I just think the combination of Kyren Williams and Blake Corum in that backfield, and they added Jonah Jackson at guard, they are going to really try to control games with the running game and then, play off of that with play action and rollouts to Kupp, to Puka. So, and I do kind of, because Luggs brought up their names, I do think they need Jarrett Verse and Brandon Fisk to contribute at a high level right away for them to make the playoffs. That being said, I do have them making the playoffs with the same record as last year, 10-7.
10-7. Okay. Yes. Okay. I think Luggs is on the wrong side of 32, isn't he?
No, he ages like wine, Luggs. So now it's a bottle
with a cork and the bottle, right?
Yeah. Dang it.
I couldn't let that one go by. Okay, so because of all the things you said there, agree. And I have the Seahawks. And my point here is that I have the Rams at 9-8. I'm picking the Seahawks at 10-7. But it's a flip-flop game, and you guys are picking them all about that same area too. So I'm just saying, one win here, one loss there. So I like the Seahawks. Geno Smith, I think, continues to have a chip on his shoulder. He's all solidified. He's got skill weapons, are elite. The new coach, Mike McDonald, did you know? The youngest coach in the NFL, 36 years old, yes. And here's the thing, gum-chewing Pete Carroll, what do you think he'll be doing this offseason? I think he's pacing at home.
Oh, yeah, actually, you're right. I would hate to be his carpet right now. Like, he is just burning holes.
And if he has a wife,
pacing back and forth.
I don't know about his personal life, but I hope she's not home a lot. And not to mention, don't you think he has a hard time sleeping at night for this very simple fact? Not giving the ball to beast mode Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl. Dude, I mean, that defined his career, did it not? That's what I'm saying.
I just hope all of us have the energy and aptitude of Pete Carroll when we hit 70. That man, like when you see him talk, you're like, oh man, he's in the face, he's got some wrinkles and he's got the white hair, but like he has the energy level of someone who's like maybe 35. And then when you see 70, you're like, oh my God.
I was going to say it's a lot of juicy fruit right there. That's what that is.
I've got the Seahawks going
That's
10.
a secret.
I got the Seahawks going 10-7 and finishing second in the NFC West. All right, enough of that tomfoolery or Lugs foolery. Who do you have for first place? Let me guess, in the NFC West.
It's going to be a 3 or 4-peat, whatever it is at this point for the San Francisco 49ers. They have the best, or at least one of the best rosters in football. They've restructured Deebo Samuel's deal, so he's happy. Brandon Ayuk is a question they still can't answer right off. This year they get the AFC East and NFC North along with the Chiefs, Cowboys, and Buccaneers. It's not an easy schedule, but, they've got Kyle Shanahan at the helm. You got Christian McCaffrey. You got all those guys. So they're going to have themselves another fine season, but I'm having them say, they'll be one ahead of what they did last year. I'm predicting 13-4 this season, 13-4.
Wow, T-Dog.
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm glad we timed this when we did. The ink is still fresh on the deals for Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk.
True.
So any trepidation in terms of those factors is gone. And kind of like what Lug said, this is the best offense besides the quarterback that is running it back one more year. And again, that is not a shot at Brock Purdy. I think we all know he's a very good quarterback who's going to get paid, and deservedly so, because I think he is talented. I'm just saying when we're talking about the top 5 elite, I don't think he's in that category. Now that I pushed that to the side. They were a top 3 passing offense and rushing offense last year. And, they are the very definition of pick your poison. Where I do have worries is they're starting to get leaky on the defense. I don't think this guy did a particularly poor job, particularly when you look at the Super Bowl. Like, they did a great job against KC. It was more the offense didn't hold up their end of the bargain that allowed KC to kind of hang around and win. But that being said, Steve Wilkes was a one and done. He was let go. And they bring in Nick Swartzen, who was elevated from the coaching staff. Dre Greenlaw, who was injured late in the season, he will miss most of the season for this year. And they did lose Eric Armstead to free agency. So they are missing, some big pieces that made their defense kind of go these last few years. Regardless, Kyle Shanahan is the Ahab of the NFL. And I don't think he will stop until he gets that Super Bowl. And I'm not going to say this year, but I think it's that fire that you can see. He is the very definition of obsession if you look at him. Like, I've never seen a more coach who you could tell is tortured by this stuff on his face. I'm not saying other guys don't internalize their torture, but he externally shows the torture that he's going through. And that's why I got to at least give him winning the division. I don't think that gives him any solace, but I have them going 11-6 and winning the division.
11-6. You know what it is? It's that flat brim hat.
I think you're right.
I think he needs to break out of that. Okay, Lugs, trivial question for you. Music. If he's the Ahab, who sang that song, Ahab the Arab, the Sheik of the Burning Sand?
That's Ray Stevens.
Ray Stevens, thank you. Winner for Lugs, 500 points to him.
That sounded amazing.
Yeah.
Little trivia for you.
Yes.
He recorded that. They were putting in a new cesspool at the radio station where he was working. He put the mic inside that cesspool that was sitting on top of the ground and recorded that vocal because he didn't have a reverb. So there's your bit of trivia.
My man. He also recorded The Streak, didn't he? I think they
The
call it
Streak.
The Streak. Right?
Guitars and
yes.
he had a bunch of them.
All right, there you go. There's your trivia. You can just, write us anytime. We'll give you some more bad trivia. All right, Lugs, T-Dog, one correction. Brock Purdy will fall out of the top 5 because he'll be replaced by Caleb Williams this year.
Oh.
Think about it. All right, let's talk about the 49ers. There's too many weapons, the team to beat, elite-level people. 13 or 14 wins may be possible, I think. Strong defense. You're right. Brandon Ayuk is on board. And here's the good news about him. He basically had no preseason, right? No, nothing. No training camp, nothing, right?
No.
So he is sharp, not knocked up, and he's been working out on his own. So he's like, ba-boom, he's going. And here's the thing, too. With the flat brim and all, I think Kyle Shanahan will bring it home. He's going to finally get what he deserves. Maybe doesn't deserve it, but I think he'll win it finally and get that monkey off his back. So I got him going 12-5 in the NFC West and going beyond that eventually. So any other thoughts on the NFC West tonight, gentlemen?
No,
sir.
We've
covered it.
Yeah, I'll just say real quick, it's like a lot of these divisions, it's just a really fascinating division. I think all of them have promising futures in some capacities. The Rams is the one I'm the most worried about in the next 2 to 3 years in comparison to the other three. So,
excellent. Okay, let's talk about the kickoff game. Thursday night, it's on NBC. Mike Tirico with the call with Chris Collinsworth. Chiefs, Ravens. Who do you like in that kickoff classic, we'll call it, for the kickoff of the 2024 season? Lugs, what do you like about the game?
It should be a good one, but I got to go with the Chiefs. Lamar just seems to fade when they play the Chiefs. Plus, the Chiefs see him often enough to know how to make him stay in the pocket and pass. So I think it'll be a close game, but still, I got the Chiefs. I'd say, 27-21, maybe something like that. But it'll be good. And a shout out to Mike Tirico. I got to say, the man on that Olympics coverage, the stuff that I saw, he was smooth. So,
yep. He's solid.
He is saddled with Chris Collinsworth, but so what?
Do they still do the slide in like he did with Al Michaels, the chair slide in? Does he still do that?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, he's always having a sandwich or something. I don't know.
Oh, God, a mustard right in the corner of his cheek. Okay, D-Dog, how about you for that opening game, the kickoff?
I also have KC. Again, not that I'm Mr. Old School or anything. It's not that I want Baltimore to have a good year, but like KC plays their starters in the preseason, just to get their feet wet. I kind of wish more teams played some of their starters just because I think it does help out. I mean, I'm not saying that Andy is just set in his old ways. I think it does help the team out. I think the scariest thing about Kansas City last year was they were definitely not the best team. They definitely were immensely flawed in a lot of different ways last year, and they won the Super Bowl. They kind of assessed some of their big concerns. You look at their wide receiver core, and I know they won't have Hollywood Brown, but it looks like Xavier Worthy is going to be a problem. Rashid Rice is going to be a problem. Travis Kelce, they're going to, I think, be more judicious on how they use him, but he's still going to be effective in the red zone and when they need him on third downs. They added Samaje P. Ryan, which I think is a great, pickup in terms of a pass catching back out of the backfield. And it sounds like their rookie that they drafted in the second round at left tackle, he's already upgraded over Preston Smith, who they had last year. So it's like all systems are go for the flawed offense that was KC. I think they're going to kind of unleash it, week one at Thursday. And I do feel like Patrick Mahomes is going to have like his first starting year. He's going to have like a 45 to 47 touchdown year. I feel it. I feel it in my bones.
You got a score? Got a score in the game?
Oh, I have the Kansas City winning 31 to 17. So
31-17. All right, Lugs, another song trivia. Who sang that song? The Year of the Cat.
That was Al Stewart.
Okay, so this is the year of the Harbaugh fellas, and I mean Jimmy and John. And I think LaMarvelous does a marvelous job in this opener. I think he wins, gets a little monkey off his back. He's getting these monkeys off his back little by little this year. And I think it's the year of the John Harbaugh and Jim in tow. But I think it's a big year, and the Harbaugh, the John, goes all the way, and LaMarvelous is with them. And Kansas City starts sliding back a little bit. Because you're right, T-Dog, they were very fortunate. They weren't that great a team, really, but they put it together at the right time. Well, I'm not sure all that luck will last. And a three-peat is a very difficult thing to do. Not that we're predicting Super Bowls yet, but as a result, I don't think they'll win the game on Thursday night. I think LaMarvelous will have a Marvy game, and they'll win the Ravens 28-24. My prediction. There you go.
All right.
All right.
One of the things I've heard about Lamar this year is they're saying that he's taking his weight down. He's not as bulky, and they're saying he's back to the speed that he had when he was playing at the University of Louisville and was literally vaulting people on the way to the end zone. I don't know. I think in the pros you got to have some muscle and weight to survive all that. So I just hope that again he is good at slipping contact. So I hope he does, because he is fun to watch.
He is. He brings people to the tube. All right, Lugs, can you hit us up with a little sports of yesteryear?
All right.
Let her rip.
No intro. I thought I was...
Now you can go. That's it. That's all we got tonight. Low budget. Low budget.
All right. 1920, Man of War wins the mile and 5/8 realization stakes at Belmont Park by, listen to this, 100 lengths. 100 lengths. It's the largest winning margin in thoroughbred history, and he did it in a world record of 240.8. And now, this is sort of stretching the definition of sport a bit. 1945, American chess master Reuben Fine wins 4 simultaneous rapid, that's 10 seconds per move, games blindfolded in New York City. Unfortunately, somebody stole his hat while he was blindfolded. Okay, 1950, NASCAR's first paved super speedway, Darlington Raceway, hosts the Southern 500. It's the first 500-mile event in NASCAR history. Johnny Mance won in a Plymouth. 1972, U.S. 4x100 medley relay team. Mike Stamm, Tom Bruce, Mark Spitz, and Jerry Heiderreich set a world record, 3 minutes, 48.16 to win gold at Munich. Mark Spitz became the first athlete to win 7 Olympic medals at a single Olympiad. And finally, 1994, Miami quarterback Dan Marino throws 5 touchdown passes in Dolphins' 39-35 win over New England, sets NFL record with his 18th game of 4 or more touchdown passes. That's it for this edition of Sports of Yesteryear.
Well, thank you, Lug, so much about that. A Plymouth, huh? They don't even make Plymouths anymore, do they?
Pretty sure they do not.
I don't think so.
I'll let me talk to the crack research team.
Yeah, we'll get the interns on that one. No, that one went the way of the Pontiac and the Oldsmobile. I don't know. When I was a kid, they had a Plymouth promotion they were running. They called it the Convert Triple. It was a hatchback, had a sunroof. I guess that's the convertible part, and a 2-door sedan. So I guess that was the sports car part. They call it the Plymouth Convert Triple. Would you buy one of those?
Wow.
It was actually like a Dart or a Plymouth Dart, I think, or Dodge Dart or Plymouth. I don't know. Anyway.
Sure, it wasn't a Belvedere.
Belvedere. Might have been the Belvedere. Yes, Mr. Belvedere. But yeah, Plymouth wasn't much. I don't think got very high marks back in the day.
After 2001, all Plymouth vehicles were discontinued or folded into Dodge and Chrysler brands. So it's been over 20 years since Plymouth was making it new cars. So there you go.
Okay, so they're not running NASCAR anymore, I guess. That's what we just learned. All right, anything else? I know a little college football. I was out of town, sadly, but I know BC had a nice little run against Florida State. You guys like that game? You like seeing what's happening there? I mean, Florida State, whoops.
Well, I mean, think about it. They were going to win the ACC outright,
Yep.
and all of a sudden they're 0-2. Georgia Tech put the whammy on them, and I think they're still in shock because BC was predicted to be the cellar dweller.
Yep.
But there was some good, a handful of good games. This weekend was mostly just blowouts. I mean, major blowouts. Don't you think so, Dog?
Yeah. What was your favorite blowout? If you want to focus on the blowouts, what was your favorite one?
Well, I mean, I've got to go with the University of Louisville. I mean, poor
Beating up on Austin P.
Poor Austin P.
And 5 quarterbacks? Did they really play 5 quarterbacks?
They played. U of L played 100 players.
Good God.
And I got
Good God.
100 players. It was crazy. I think T-Dog could have dressed out. Seriously.
Well,
I thought he did.
I don't think I could because I thought I ran back a touchdown in the pros. Can I go back and play college? I thought that wasn't
He's
possible.
not eligible, right? You burned it all up.
Yeah.
No, he
exactly
still
right.
has eligibility. He just changes his, mustache or something to cover it up. So,
Would have to be able to grow a mustache for that to happen. I don't think that's possible.
Oh, that's some good stuff there.
Yeah, it looks like a decomposed caterpillar. That's like 3 weeks you find it on the side of the road.
But don't you find it funny? Florida State and Clemson, belly aching about the ACC. We want out. We're the cream of the crop, and now both of them are winless. Correct?
Yes.
So what's up with that?
Well, Florida.
Debo's I'm sorry, man. Debo's doing himself in. He refuses to use the portal, and
Yes.
so that's it. I mean, this is it for Debo. If he doesn't change his ways, he's done.
Yeah.
Even though he isn't coming here from Clemson, this ties in perfectly to Florida State. They brought in transfer who was at Clemson at one time, DJ Uiagalelei. And I hate pouring on the poor kid, but he's just not that good. Mm-hmm. And I think he's kind of I will be surprised if he starts game 3. They will be crazy to have him start game 3. I just want to give credit to Boston College. It wasn't just DJ Uiagalelei. Boston College has Brian O'Brien has that team already has a mindset and a mentality, and they are committed to the run. They were able to run all over Florida State. Their quarterback, I think he's good for what their offense is, and they're gonna be a pesky team. They're definitely maybe not gonna be in contention to win the ACC, but they're gonna snipe probably another team or two here this year.
Well, I know both of you are a little dismayed that you saw Brian Kelly crying because LSU also lost. Thoughts on that game?
I was absolutely shocked by the defensive play by USC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, last year, literally, they couldn't stop anybody. And so they played harder than LSU, which I find that hard to believe if you'd have told me before, but they did. They beat them up real good. And of course,
the SC quarterback had a career game, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Myler Moss, he threw for over 378 yards passing, and it was just very odd how the game ended. It felt like they were, going to try to kick a field goal to win the game, USC, and LSU just allowed them to go in, and I don't know if they were trying to do that so that they could maybe tie it. I don't know. Because again, this is field goal kicking in college. There's no guarantee that a kicker even from 29 yards out is going to make it. So Brian Kelly is now 0-3 to start his time at LSU, and from bad to worse, they're starting running back who showed immense promise in that game. Emery, he's out with a torn ACL. So. Yeah, and it's not going to get easier in Lugs' favorite conference, the SEC. So, I mean, they're going to have to strap in. I mean, luckily their quarterback and their offense, has some flashes. So, maybe they put that together. But it's going to be a hard road to hoe for LSU this upcoming season.
All right. Anything else for the end of the program here? We're about out of time on this edition of Sports and Other Stuff.
I got to show my bias in terms of, it was a great win for Kirk Cinetti in the Indiana in week 1 against FIU. They look like they have a more competent offense than they've had in quite a while. So I was intrigued by that. I don't expect them to contend at all for the Big Ten here in the next decade, but it's going in the right direction.
Next decade. Wow, that's optimistic, I believe, is what you call that. Lugs, anything else?
That's it.
All right, this has been Sports and Other Stuff, brought to you in part by this week First National Bank. Come as you are, bank from your car at First National's convenient touchless drive-through window. Stop in there, you'll hear a recorded message. It's by a guy we know. We know his name is, I can't remember. His name is
Fish. This week, Fish allows his nostalgia flag to fly high by remembering the Australian lass who captured hearts with the song, I Honestly Love You. To honor the birth of Olivia Newton-John, Fish gives everyone a chance to throw a few shrimp on the Barbie and enjoy the Olivia show with Sabrina Pleasant-Sia. This trip down memory lane begins Saturday, 1 p.m., topped off with a screening of Olivia's most famous movie, Grease. Admission is $20. All proceeds benefit the Susan G. Komen Foundation.
That's it?
That's it.
All right, thanks for listening to Sports and Other Stuff. First in sound, first in service, first in other stuff. So long till next time. Bye-bye.